Yeah, so we haven't talked about this, and it's been all the rage for a few years now. We'll talk about wokeism, and oddly enough, this kind of circles into China, which is interesting, and we'll kind of connect them together using financial knowledge. Does that sound like a fun trip, everybody?
Well, it sounds like some kind of trip. I have no idea what kind of it is. I'm not connecting the idea of woke in China, but we'll get there.
It all kind of loosely connects financially, and it's kind of funny. So anyway,
All right.
for those of you who don't know, I'll tell you kind of what wokeism isn't real well defined. It's just sort of a thing that's in the ether. It's basically conservatives, whatever they're pissed at, is woke. That's basically all that is code for. But it does,
Really?
yeah, pretty much. But it really does. It actually has, it does have an origin a little bit, but we'll get to that in a second. But first, I want you to understand um, the issue with wokeism. And here's Fox News, little segment from Fox News to help us.
This is a virus. It's infectious. It destroys your brain. Almost every corner of our society is now sort of being infected.
Scary music, Lacey. Do you hear the scary music? Wokeness.
Yeah.
It's coming for you.
Some of this wokeness. When woke infects something, it spreads its tentacles.
We are seeing a woke ideology spread like a disease.
The wokeness is very potent.
This woke mindset virus.
The wokeness, this is all we should be talking about.
Californians are getting woke.
Yeah, I'm in a woke city here.
Shit. She like she was smelling shit when she said oh god, the thing about the wokeness. I don't know. See, I have this student who used to tell me, you're woke. And I might be too old to completely understand, but I knew it was a compliment. It was a compliment coming from this kid.
Man,
a compliment on Fox News.
No, it's different when the kids say it. When the kids say you're woke, it means you're not asleep, you're not stupid. Right? You're at least aware of what's going on, right? No, this is for them. This is more of a code word, but part of this goes back to they used to use cancel culture, and they still use that a little bit, right? That terminology, and that was kind of a ripoff of I can't remember. It wasn't called exactly cancel culture, but it had a similar name. But that was what we were talking about in, I think, a third wave feminism back in the 80s. And what they were talking about with that was you'd be the woman at the meeting, right? But you'd be the one who is always silenced or interrupted or talked down to, right? You could be the one of the most senior people at the table, right, as a woman. And in the 80s, this was true. This happened all the time. You'd be at the conference room, you'd come into the meeting, and instantly your subordinates, who were men, would all be like, oh, could you give me a cup of coffee? Or
speak to you like you simply don't understand.
Right. Mansplain.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't do that well with whole mansplaining.
Well, let me tell you why, though, Lacey. Oh, God. But no, but that's what it started as, and now they've sort of morphed it into this anything we don't like. And I didn't get a clip of this, but we'll move to some other ones. But where this kind of started was, it didn't really start there, but it was kind of the big one. It was Mr. Potato Head. I don't know if you remember this a few years ago.
Is Mr. Potato Head woke?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Potato Head.
My kids, they're kind of telling me I'm enlightened, and I think that's totally a compliment.
Well,
like, you're enlightened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what it was essentially, it was a few professors. I think it was mainly one in Illinois, but they did marketing testing for toys for Hasbro and Mattel. And I mean, people don't understand. Professors, especially business professors and science professors, yeah, they make money teaching and they teach, but they make most of their money doing research for businesses. They get paid a lot of money, think tanks, whatnot. That's where they make most of their money. They might make, 80 or 90,000 teaching, but they'll make $250,000 or $500,000 working for Hasbro for 8 months on a project, right? So these professors were doing that, and I think they were working for Hasbro and Mattel. And what they were doing was trying to figure out, because they were having a hard time marketing toys. The sales were not going up. They weren't reflecting what they thought they should. And things like Mr. Potato Head were not selling as well as they used to, right? Even though that toy was a staple for Hasbro all through the 50s, 60s, 70s, right? 80s. Shit, I had one as a kid. I mean, did you ever have a Potato Head?
Actually, I don't think so, but my friends had potato heads, and I did play with them.
Yeah, they were fun. And what ended up happening was with the Potato Head was one of the ones where this is kind of how this whole thing. I'm gonna just guess how it went down in the boardroom, but this is kind of essentially what they found, right? The professors found. So they'd have the kids come in, play with the toys, but they wouldn't label them or tell the kids what the toys were. They just let a bunch of 3 to 6 or 7-year-olds come in and play for an hour or two, right? And then they feed them. And then what they had at the universities, where they had these little mock toy stores in like one of the classrooms they weren't using. And what they do is they tell the kids, okay, you can pick any 2 toys you want off the shelf and have them for free, right? And so the parents would bring the kids to these studies because they get free toys, and And so what the one thing they felt was odd was like Potato Head, for example. The girls would play with it a lot because it's a doll that you can dress up however you want. Right? You can change its eyes, its lips, its hat, its accessories, right? Its ears. So the little girls would play with it, but then when they saw it on the shelf, they didn't want it. And when they asked him why, it's because it was Mr. Potato Head, and it had pictures of boys on the box. So the girls thought, oh, this is a boy's toy. I don't want that. It's not for me.
But when it was not labeled and
Right.
didn't have any marketing associated with it at all,
girls liked it just as well as boys. In fact, we've even
liked it.
Yeah.
Like maybe so.
Right. But that's the thing, is that's what it was in the conference room, where it was like, well, what do you mean they didn't want it when they saw it on the shelf? Because it says Mr. and well, Mr. Potato Head's for everybody. And it's like, well, but if you put boys on the box and you call it Mr., the girls think it's not for them. And then everybody at Hasbro went, fuck.
See,
50 years we've been doing this.
I played with G.I. Joe with my 2 boy cousins, but I never asked anybody to buy me a G.I. Joe, because when you walk down that aisle, that was all marketed to boys. It was all boy stuff. It was
That was the whole point.
There wasn't G.I. There was no girl anything, no girls on the boxes, on the advertisement. So,
well, that was the thing. With the boys, it's like they were like, if you don't tell them Barbies are girl toys, they don't know that. Barbie's got a freaking Corvette. Ken's got a penthouse. You get the kids, you just give them a box of toys. Pretty soon, Batman and Iron Man are hanging out with Ken at his penthouse.
I'm not gonna lie. You know what? When I was a kid, I grew up in a really tiny town, and in my age group, there were 2 boys and 2 girls, conveniently. Sometimes some miscellaneous farm kids or whatever in town, but we were the in-town kids. And I remember that Barbie and Ken were definitely playing with the characters from WrestleMania really frequently.
Yeah.
I mean, they were a little short, but it basically worked itself out just fine.
But once you take them out of the boys' aisle and the girls' aisle, and out of the packages, they're just toys to the kids.
Right.
It's whatever the kid wants it to be. So Potato Head said, okay, well, we're not calling it Mr. Potato Head anymore. We're just calling it Potato Head. But you can still buy Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. Right? But the brand is now just Potato Head. Because they want to make it more inclusive. And that was why it was so woke. And then they sell the box where it was a family pack, where it was 2 big potato heads and one of the spud potato heads, one of the little potato heads. And it came with like 42 different accessories. So you could make it 2 moms, 2 dads, You make it a son or a daughter. Make it whatever you want, whatever the kid wants it to be, whatever
combination the
Right.
kid could think of.
And because of that, well, also because of the outrage, people ran out and bought all the vintage Mr. Potato Heads before they were gone because they were angry about the wokeness. So Hasbro made a killing on that.
Okay, so can we safely say there are now conservative potato heads and liberal potato heads?
Pretty much, yep. Pretty
or
much.
Republican potato heads and Democrat potato heads.
Pretty much. And on top of that, there's sales to children.
I'm going to say right now, if I see any potato heads with a MAGA hat, I am going to just die.
I don't
Don't
know.
make that.
I don't know. If I was Hasbro, I might make that. That's not a bad idea.
You heard it here first, kids.
We'll get one.
Okay.
We'll
if it already exists, leave it in the comments and let me know that thing already exists. If not, when we see it come out,
hey,
we're gonna know.
MAGA hat and pussy hat potato head.
Oh my goodness! But they gotta be in the same set.
Yes.
Because then you know it's fair to everybody, and it'll tick everybody off at the same time. That feels like a win to me.
There you go.